Okay, solving equations, very important skill. Use it over and over and over again. And it's not difficult. It's easy to make little mistakes here and there. The important thing is to remember balance, right? It's an equality. Both sides are equal. So anything you do to one side, you do to the other. This is why I do it the way that I do it. So I decided to do number two. It's a pretty basic one, but people do make mistakes here. The first mistake I see is people try to eliminate this 14 by putting a plus 14 here, but it's already a plus 14. So that's not going to get rid of it. So you have to subtract that 14 to cross it out, right? You're eliminating it from one side. I want the letter on one side and the number on the other side. So to maintain the balance, you have to subtract 14 from both sides. Now, again, be careful. Like I'll see students write this down. There was a negative in front of that 5. You got to carry it down with the 5W. The equal stays. Again, mistake comes here. People add this wrong. They'll put 17 or they'll put whatever. Or they'll just put 45 instead of negative 45. So you just, again, all the sign rules that we did previously, you need to do them constantly when you're combining terms, sign rules. So now this is a product. This is negative 5 times W. And the opposite of multiplying by negative 5 is to divide by negative 5. You don't divide by 5. That's not what's in front. You want to get the letter alone, right? Negative times a negative, negative divided by a negative is a positive. Two negatives, two wrongs make a right. So I get a positive, and then 45 over 5 is none. Right, so again, the important thing to keep in mind when you do these is that, you can't, you have to have the letter and the number on different sides. What I see students do is this. I see this a lot. I'm just making a really ridiculous example, but I'll see students put the letter and number on the same side, right? And then, they'll write something like this down. And then they'll do this. And then somehow they'll put x equal 1 or something ridiculous. But it's just, you can't have them on the same side. They must be on different sides. Your goal is to get that letter all by itself on one side and the number all by itself on the other side. They have to be on opposite sides of the equal. This is really important. I mean, this is the thing that I see students do all the time. They put it on the wrong sides. You have to be very careful. I'll do a bunch more of these. Okay, so I have 3 and 5 written here. I'm still doing basic ones, right? They're not too crazy yet. This whole thing only has one letter in it, but there's an issue here. Now, the first mistake people will make is take this 5 and they'll times it with this 2. That isn't what you're doing, right? That negative 5 is really a minus 1 times this there. This negative 5. It's not this. This, you would be timesing negative 5 by negative 2 and then negative 5 by negative 3x. That's not what you have up there. There is a negative in the middle. So the negative 5 has to stay there, and you distribute the negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 2 is plus 2. And then over here, negative 1 times negative 3x is positive 3x. Look, it's switch sign. That's good. We don't like negatives. Negative is bad. Negative is confusing. So it's nice when the letter turns out to be positive. We're going to discuss that on that one. So now, you got to combine things. I screwed this up. I copied it wrong. Then it was a 2. Fuck. Okay. Well, it is what it is. I knew because it wasn't going to come out right. So I'm going to leave it like this. I messed up. I copied it wrong. This should have been a positive 2. So this would be a negative 2. So, and I'm leaving this there. You know why? The lesson is be careful. All right. I did not do that on purpose. I did it by accident, but I copied the question wrong. Your chances increase dramatically when you copy it right. So, don't make the mistake I just made, right? Be careful. Double check. And I didn't double check. I should have. I only knew the mistake because I knew the problem because we did it in the class. So I knew that it was supposed to get a negative 7 over here. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, something's not right there. So I also know that I was about to get a fraction answer. That's the other way that you know that you made a mistake. If you're doing one of these and you get a fraction, you get it wrong. I don't design them that way. Can they come out that way? Sure, all the time. But I don't want them to come out to be fractions. I want them to be whole numbers. So I copied it wrong. Be careful. Don't follow my example. Now, so negative 1 times positive 2 is a negative 2. So now it's correct. I fixed it. Here again, this is very easy to mess up if you do the rules wrong. You owe 5 and you owe 2. That means you owe 7, right? You add the numbers, you keep the sign. So now we're working our way down toward the end. It's almost over. I want this by itself. Anything with it has to be eliminated. So I must add 7 to eliminate that minus 7. But if I add 7 here, I have to add 7 there. You have to maintain the balance of both sides. This is the reason that you do it. It's about eliminating things from one side, but you have to do it to the other. So you owe 10, but you pay 7, you owe 3. Again, be very careful with the signs. I see people put a 17 there or a 3. Now you're going to divide by 3. You're always dividing by the number in front of that letter because it's multiplication. And the opposite of multiplying, dividing. So then negative 3 divided by 3 is 1, and a negative divided by a positive is a negative. All right, so, you copy it wrong like I did, you get it wrong. You're not going to get it right if you copy it wrong, so just be really careful. All right, so like I said, I could edit this out and do it again, but there's no point. I want you to see, I made a legit mistake, and I caught it, and I fixed it. So, it's important you do the same. Now, this question is slightly getting harder. Now, there's letters on each side. But the goal is letter on one side, number on the other side. You cannot have letters, on both sides. So you have a choice. I could eliminate the y from the left side. But if I do that, it's going to create a -2, -2y. I'd rather not do that. What I would rather do is eliminate the y from the right side by adding 7y, right? You have a -7, you're going to add 7. Those will cross out. Notice that I always cross them out. I cross out what gets eliminated. So then I'm going to add 7y there. So that gives me 2y. Now, at the very same time, I have my letter on the left now. I don't want this -19 there. I don't want that number there at all. So I'm going to add 19 to this side. And now I'm going to cross that out. Do it in red. Boom. Cross it out. All right, you're crossing it out from that side. I always cross out what I eliminate. But if you add 19 here, you got to add 19 there. You don't have to do this in one step. You can do it in 2 separate steps, whatever you're comfortable with. 19 minus 5 is 14. And then again, this is 2 times y, so you divide by 2. So you get 7. Remember, the most important thing is to do what you're comfortable with. If you are not comfortable doing the elimination in a single step, then don't. Do the letter first, right? And then, you would have had this. And then do the plus 19. You don't have to do it in one move simultaneously. If you find it confusing and you get stuck doing it, then don't do that. Right? You can do it in 2 steps. Okay, so the next one, I'm going to do number 8. They get progressively more difficult as you go. I mean, that's the way the sheets are designed. Now, again, you got to be careful. There's a couple of traps here. Trap number 1, your brain wants to do 2 plus 4, but as we have said many, many, many times since the beginning, you cannot add or subtract before you multiply, right? I have to do my distributing here. I have to multiply by 4. So the first mistake is to, add these together. The other mistake is people will start doing the 4 and then they'll start doing the 2. I mean, this doesn't make sense. Just ignore that temporarily. Just pretend it's not there, right? This is what you got to do. I mean, it's positive 4. That if that was negative, like it is here, it's gonna matter. So I'm going to do positive 4 times 3. I'm going to keep that 2. Positive 4 times 3 is positive 12. I hope I copied this right. I was more careful this time. 4 times negative x. Just, you have a number and a letter, just put them together. It's negative 4x. That's it. That side is done. Okay. Now move on to the other side. You're going to do negative 2 times 5, which is negative 10. And then negative 2 times negative x, which is positive 2x. So that side's good. There's not much to do there. Here, you got to put these together first. Do not start trying to eliminate them one at a time. Combine them and make them 14. All right, you just do 2 plus 12. You don't want to start, you may have a lot of terms. You may have 5, 6, 7 things on the left side. You don't want to start eliminating them one at a time. Don't do this. This is very inefficient, and I will mark this wrong. This is nonsense. I mean, I see people do -2, -2, and then -12, -12. Don't do this. Why create more work for yourself? Why make more steps when you can do less steps, right? Less steps better. Less steps mean less mistakes, right? Your goal is to not make mistakes. Help minimize the errors that you make. Okay, so now I see immediately that I could do plus 4x and keep my x positive. But you know what? I'm going to keep my letter on the left side just for illustration purposes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the 14, cross it out, right? You have a positive 14. I'm going to subtract it, just like that other one. I mean, it was just like number 2. Negative 10 and negative 14 is negative 24. Now I'm going to see, I'm doing it 2 steps now. instead of doing it together. I'm going to eliminate this by subtracting 2x. Make sure the letter is there. I see students do this. These are not the same. This is not, you need the x there. You're subtracting 2x, not 2. So these will cross out. Again, I'm crossing out what I eliminate. Minus 4x, take away 2x, right? You're subtracting here. So you're going to add the numbers and keep the sign. So you get like that. There's a reason I did this. I want you to see that, you can deal with the negatives. It's okay. If you want, you never, ever have to put the letter on the right. You can always put it on the left. It's just sometimes it makes a negative here. And negatives are a little more annoying to deal with. Now I have to divide by -6. So that's going to cross these out and leave me with x. Make sure board is good here with the camera. Negative and negative is plus. You don't have to write the plus. I'm writing for emphasis. 24 divided by 6 is 4. Right again, I got a nice whole number. Now I did make one of the problems come out to be a fraction. I think it was number 18, but who cares? That was just to show you that you can get one. I know on my quizzes and my exams, I do not make the answers come out to be fractions. This is just for you, so that if you're doing one on the test and you get a fraction, like you get 3/2 or something, or 5/9, you made a mistake. Then you could come to me and I can help you find your mistake. That's the whole point. All right. So none of the ones I do are going to come out to be fractions. All right. So again, at this point, it's going to start to get very repetitive because it's the same thing over and over again. I can't put these together. Even if this was an x, you can't put it together. You have to leave the 5x there. You're going to take the -3. Any parentheses have to be distributed. -3 times x is -3x. -3 times a -6 is a positive 18. Now, on this side, I can do something. I'm going to put the x in the front because I'd like it there. I'm going to combine the two numbers together. I have -13, right? You owe 13, but you pay 2. You owe 11. You subtract the numbers and you keep the larger sign, right? That's our rule. Now, on this side, I can do 5x, take away 3x, and put 2x. This is what you want. This is always the goal. No matter how many numbers and letters I give you, you will always be able to combine it down to letter number, letter number. You might even do better. You might have letter number and then number. Without a letter, that letter may not even have been on that side. So you can always boil it down to, at the maximum, 4 things: letter number, letter number. Always combine it to here before you do anything else. Before you start doing the eliminating from one side to the other, you do that. Now this one, we're going to do the double. I want the letter on this side. So I'm going to subtract 18 to eliminate the 18 from the left side. All right. I don't want that there anymore. So I'm going to subtract 18 from that side. That's going to give me, I'm going to keep my equal. That's going to give me a -29. Now I have a 1x there, +1. You can put the 1, you don't have to. I'm going to subtract that 1x, which will eliminate it from the right side. Goodbye. So then 2x's take away 1x gives me 1x. Yay, that's what I wanted. I wanted x all by itself. But you got it, it's over. You don't even have to do any division. You just got x alone. This is the goal. So whoop, you don't got to put the 1 there. So you get -29 in that one. Now I'm going to do one a little harder. Okay, number 12. It looks so nasty. Notice 1, we switch letters. I like to tend to keep the letter x. It's just convenient use to that. But the letter, the variable, changes often, right? So P for pineapple. So you have a lot of distributing to do. Whenever you see those parentheses, you have to do the multiplication. If it helps, put the little dots there. You're doing 3 times 2p, that's 6p. Then you're doing 3 times -1, that's -3. You're going to do -8 times p, that's -8p. Now be careful, signs. -8 times -3 is plus 24. All right, now you know what? Before I even mess with that side, I'm going to put everybody here together. I want these things together. I have my pineapples, my peas, and I have my numbers, right? My money. So you have 6 pineapples and you lose 8, -2, right? Subtract them, keep the larger sign. You have $24, you spend 3, you still have 21. Be careful that you don't put a minus there. I don't like the way I wrote my plus and then I just messed up my p. There we go. It still looks horrible. All right, so I got everything on the left side together. Now I'm just going to do that side and see what lands there. So I'm going to do 2 times p. Then I'm going to do 2 times 5. Whatever you like. You don't have to do what I just did. You can mess with the left and the right simultaneously, whatever makes you happy. There's nothing to combine the p with. I have no other p's on that side. So I'm going to keep that. I have $10 and $23. That's $33. Okay, so again, like I said in the previous one, you're always going to get letter number, letter number. There you go. Letter number, letter number. So now again, pick a side. I'll stick with the left side. Let me eliminate. Well, you know what? Maybe for variety. Let's not. I don't want. I know that if I subtract this over, I'm going to have a negative here. Let's add it. Let's do plus 2p. I'm going to put the number on the right side. You rebel. Cross this out, right? You have a -2. You do the opposite, which is +2. That's why you get a 0 that it cross out. But you have to maintain the balance. You're adding 2p here. You have to add 2p there to maintain the scale. So on this side, I'm going to have 4 pineapples equal. I know it looks backwards. I need this gone now. If I'm going to put the letter on the right side, this can't be there. So I have to do the opposite of it, which is to subtract it away, cross it out, do it to the other side. I'm still getting a negative no matter what the hell I do. 21, take away 33. You're going to subtract these numbers and keep the larger sign. When you subtract them, you get a 12, right? 21 and 12 make 33, right? 3, 3. And you keep the larger sign. Now, again, this is multiplication. So you do division. So you get P equal 12 divided by 4 is 3, and a negative over a plus is a negative. Now, if it bothers you that it looks backwards, and it looks backwards to me, then just write your final answer like this. That's okay. It doesn't matter what side the letter is on. You can put it on the side you want. If you brought it to the left side, I would have had a negative 4p here. Same damn thing. It doesn't matter. You're going to get the same answer as long as you're careful with the sides. As long as you make sure, like I said, important thing, make sure they're on opposite sides of the equal. It cannot be on the same side, right? They have to be on opposite sides. I'm going to do another harder one. All right, now, a lot of people may not have gotten this far, but, it's good to see the more complex ones. This is about as difficult as it's going to get at this level. I mean, they're not going to make these ridiculous, crazy ones like I had number 20 on that sheet there. But, this is a reasonable level of difficulty. You have to do a bunch of distributing and then combining. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do 4 times 3x is 12x. I'm going to do 4 times -2, that's -8. Over here, I'm going to do -8 times 1, which is -8. Well, look, I got a -8 there. And another -8. They cross out, make 0. No, they don't. -8 times -x is going to be +8x. Boy, a lot of 8s there, right? 8s are wild. 3 of a kind. Now, this time I am just going to distribute this side just to show you variety. I can keep going and combining these, but I'm not. I'm going to do the other side. 7 times 3 is 21. To show you can do whatever you like. 7 times x is 7x. And then that +2, this 7 is not going to hop over those parentheses and hit that 2. It's not a 14. Be careful there. I see that move. People take that 7 and they want to go crazy with it and make it go all over the place. It doesn't do that, right? The 7 only hits these 2, not that. So, again, whatever you want to do. If you just wanted to mess with this side like I did in the previous one, then that's what you do. So look, you have 12 x's, and I give you 8 more. That's 20. You lose 8 and you lose 8, you lost 16, right? Add the numbers, keep the sign. You have to combine them. Must combine them. This is important. You don't just start moving around and eliminating them. Here, you only have a 7x. There's no other x to combine it with, but you have $21 and $2. That's $23. Right? Put everything together. And for the zillionth time, you don't need that plus there. I like it there. A letter and a number, a letter and a number. This is always what it boils down to. Once you do your distributing and you're collecting the like terms, that's why we do that topic first before we do this topic. Once you've done that, it's going to look like this. There's going to be at most 4 things. I might have got lucky. Sometimes the letter on that side crosses out. I could have got something like that where it was just letter, number, number. But, whatever. This is what I got. So I can see that 20 take away 7 will be positive. So I'm going to eliminate the 16 from this side, do the opposite sign to cross it out, do it to the other side. This time I will do it in 2 steps again, like I did before. Just again, to show you it's a variety, whatever you feel like doing. I feel like doing this time. Here you're going to get 39. Pow. Now I need to cross out a +7, so I'm going to subtract 7, which will eliminate that from the right. But I have to do it to the other side, right? You take away 7, you have to take away 7 to maintain the balance. That gives you 13 x's equal, drop down, 39. Thank God it's divisible. My line missed my 9. That drives me crazy. I do that all the time. Yeah. Still not a good 9. Divide by 13. You're always dividing by the number in front. 13's cross out. 39 is divisible by 13. This is where if you get a fraction that doesn't divide evenly, you made a mistake. That does not apply to anyone else. It applies to me because I designed my exam questions that way and my quiz questions. I don't want them to come out to fractions to confuse you. You might want to check it. I'd recommend against this. I mean, to check this, you'd have to take this number and put it back here, 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 and make sure the left and the right are the same. You don't need to do this. I mean, this is a little ridiculous, right? Just as long as you know the number is reasonable. And also, you know, if I give you 3 or 4 of these, I tend to make all the answers different. I will. So, you know, if you get an answer of 3 and then another answer of -3 and then another answer of 13, they all have a 3 in them. I don't do that. It's weird, but I won't do that. So when you take in these, you know, exam, all the answers will be different. You'll get a 3, then you'll get a -5, then you'll get a 17. You know, the numbers will be different. They'll be different. You know, you'll get pluses and minuses. Like if there were 4 of them, I would make 2 of the answers plus and 2 of the answers minus. You know, I like to do that. Why? You know, I don't want all 4 answers being negative or all 4 answers being plus. You know, if there were 4 equations on your exam, I'd like balance there. 2 plus, 2 minus. And all the answers will be different and none will be fractions. So you know what to expect. So then you can tell, you know, it helps you find mistakes that you make. You might not know that you made a mistake during this question. And then you get to the end and you get a fraction. You're like, shit, I did make a mistake somewhere. Where's that mistake? And then you come to me and I'll help you. All right, so look, just keep practicing. It's not difficult. Just again, remember, letter on one side, number on the other side, combine everything, do opposites, cross them out when they eliminate. This is important. This helps you keep track of your work, right? Keeping track of your work is important. If you don't, you get lost. And then this is where the mistakes come from because you're writing it sloppy, half-assed, and then they're all over the place and you lose yourself, all right? So as always, good luck.